Hey guys, it's Shadow Artie back from the dead. That's right, I am back with a 6th gen Wi-Fi battle. It has been a very long time, guys. I really would like to apologize. I'm really sorry, but I've really had a lot of things to do. But I'm back now. I actually have a Pokemon X and Y Wi-Fi battle and not Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. I actually do not have the game yet. I haven't had time to buy it. I want to get it in the near future, so definitely stay tuned. But this battle is actually relatively old. This is actually a GBA battle. If you've ever heard of GBA, it was made by Magnitude. I'm not in Magnitude's league, but me and a group of friends decided to make a GBA style league, and we drafted our own Pokemon. It was a relatively fun experience. So I have a really good battle for you today as one of my weekly matchups. This is against my friend Nick. He actually has a Mega Charizard X, and I know it's Mega Charizard X because I actually have Mega Charizard Y because that's what I drafted. And he drafted Mega Charizard X. I actually decided not to bring my Mega Charizard Y. Not really sure why. I guess I wanted to challenge to take him down. But I knew that he would definitely bring his Mega Charizard X based on his playing style. Looking at my team, I've got a Conkeldurr, a Assault Vested Conkeldurr, I got a Bisharp, I got a defensive Cofagrigus, I got a Victini, Choice Scarf Victini, might I add, and I have a physically defensive Gliscor and a relatively fast Starmie. He's got a Choice Banded Tyrantrum, I'm guessing, maybe even Choice Scarf, but I'm really not sure, so I really have to watch out for both. He's got a physically defensive Mandibuzz, which I am kind of worried about, but it's going to be a little tricky to take down. It's going to limit my Victini a little bit, and it might even have Pursuit, so I definitely have to watch out for that. I don't want my Victini to take any unnecessary damage. He's got an Espeon, which is a little unfortunate because it is faster than my Starmie. He's also got a Breloom, and I have to watch out for that against my Starmie. And he's got that really annoying Sableye with Will-O-Wisp, Confuse Ray, Taunt, all those priority prankster moves. It's gonna be a tough challenge to take down. So why don't we get started with this battle? It's gonna be a really good battle, so hopefully you guys will enjoy. I actually decided to lead off with my Conkeldurr first because it's really my best matchup, as he's actually going to decide to lead off with his Sableye. I'm actually kind of quite fine with that because if he goes for the Will-O-Wisp, I have my Guts ability, so I'm really not worried about that at all. He actually decides to go for the Confuse Ray, which is a little unfortunate, and I believe I do hit myself in Confusion, and that's going to suck quite a bit. However, I actually do break Confusion the next turn, which is actually really awesome. I actually decided to go straight for the knockoff because I want to get rid of the Sableye's leftovers. He actually decides to bring in the Mandibuzz, which I guess is okay because I do limit this Mandibuzz's recovery, but he probably has Roost anyway, so it's not really going to matter too much in the long run. I actually decide to go into my my Gliscor, predicting the Toxic. However, he goes straight for the knockoff, which is really unfortunate because I do have my Toxic Orb. So that's going to suck quite a bit. So it's not the end of the world because I actually decided to go for the Stealth Rock, predicting the pretty obvious actually, no, I don't know what I was predicting there. I actually thought I could take any move that he wanted to go for or that he might switch out. He goes for the Tailwind, which is relatively unfortunate, but he does then go for the Defog the next turn, which I think is a little strange because I'm not sure if Defog gets rid of the Tailwind as well, but it does get rid of my Stealth Rocks, which is unfortunate. I actually do decide to go for the Toxic the next turn because I knew I could hit whatever I wanted on the switch if he wanted to switch. However, he actually decides to stay in and just take the Toxic damage, so that's going to be completely fine with me. He actually decides to go into his Breloom. I'm actually thinking that he thought that the Breloom has Guts, which actually is unfortunate for me. Not Guts. I think this Breloom had the Poison Heal, the same ability that my Gliscor has. He actually doesn't have that, which is quite awesome for me, as I knew he'd probably go for the Spore now, so I actually decided to bring in my Cofagrigus as sleep fodder, which is awesome for me because if any of my Pokemon that I want to be asleep, it's really one of my walls. Cofagrigus, completely fine with that. So that's going to be pretty awesome. The Tailwind actually does go out, so it turns out that Defog does not get rid of Tailwind, which I guess is a little strange, but it makes sense. He actually decides to go into his Mega Charizard X, and I actually decide to switch into my... who do I go into? I actually decided to go into my Victini, which, again, this really isn't a good matchup for me because Victini can't take as much physical hits, so I actually decided to go back into my Cofagrigus because it's really the only thing I can do, and he actually decides to double switch. I'm guessing he was predicting my Cofagrigus to come in, but no, I don't think so because he actually brings in his Tyrantrum. Again, it's still the better matchup for me because I can take any physical hit he wants to go for. He actually decides to go back into his Mandibuzz. I'm not really sure what he can really do to me. He really can't do that much to me, and it's really a better matchup for me because poison damage does rack up for me anyway. So I actually decide to switch, predicting him to switch, and I go back into my Gliscor, predicting another Toxic because I really want my Gliscor to get poison healed. He actually does make the best play. He does keep going for that knockoff. Again, it's really his best play because he really doesn't want my Gliscor to get poisoned for no reason and for me to recover HP anyway. He actually decides to go back into his Espeon. Again, this is a relatively bad matchup for me. He does predict that very well. I do go for the Stealth Rock, and unfortunately, Stealth Rock goes back to my side of the field. Very, very nice play on his part. He actually decides to switch his Espeon and bring in his Sableye, which isn't the best matchup for me anyway. However, I actually decide to pull a switch because I can't really go for anything else. I didn't want his Espeon to stay in and make my Gliscor take unnecessary damage. So really what I can do now here is I bring in my Bisharp. Again, not the best matchup for me. I actually decide to go back into my Victini, predicting another Will-O-Wisp. And pretty much what that does, it lets me have a free switch into my Victini. He actually goes for the Taunt, which I'm completely fine with as well because my Victini is Choice Scarf, so really all my moves are attacking moves. He actually decides to bring in his Tyrantrum, and I go for the V-Create. It's not going to do as much damage because Tyrantrum does resist it. However, V-Create is still a very powerful move. As you can see, it's not Choice Banded. I actually do get a crit. It does maybe about 45% damage. I'm completely fine with that. But Stealth Rocks are still back on my side of the field because of that stupid play I made on that Espeon that I didn't predict, and he made that awesome play on me. So I actually decided to go into my Cofagrigus now to take this, any hit this Tyrantrum wants to go for, and based on that damage, I definitely want to say that he's definitely Choice Banded because that did a little bit too much. He actually decides to go back into his Espeon now. I actually decided, I don't remember what move I went for, but it didn't really matter in the long run because I couldn't have done too much this Espeon anyway, even if I went for the Shadow Ball. I actually do wake up this turn. I actually end up going for the Shadow Ball again, predicting him to stay in. And he actually brings in the Charizard, and that's pretty awesome because this Charizard takes about 25% damage. He probably doesn't have any recovery moves anyway, or maybe he does, I don't even know. So he actually decides to Mega Evolve on this turn, and he goes to the Roost, so he does show me he does have a recovery move. And that's going to be a little bit unfortunate, but he really can't do much to me. As I actually decide to go for the Pain Split, which is awesome, recover some awesome more HP, as this Mega Charizard does take some HP. All I have to do really is just stall out, as he just keeps going for Roost. He really can't do anything to me, and I can pretty much limit to whatever he can do. I actually just decided to keep going for Shadow Balls, because I really want his special defense to lower, so my Shadow Balls will do more damage. He's just going to keep stalling me out with Roost. Again, this really isn't going to hurt me too much in the long run. And I can just keep spamming Shadow Balls until I get a special defense drop. So I keep hitting him with Shadow Balls, and he's actually going to realize this matchup isn't for him, so he's going to have to switch. There's really nothing else he can do. He actually decides to go into the Mandibuzz, which I'm completely fine with because, well, I'm not really too fine with because Shadow Ball doesn't really do much damage. However, he is physically defensive and not specially defensive, so that Shadow Ball is going to do a little bit more damage. Not too much to really matter, as he can just keep stalling out with more Roost. So I actually decide to keep predicting the Toxic. That's really all I can do at this point. I have to make this Mandibuzz go for a Toxic. He's just going to keep spamming Tailwind. Now at this point, I'm thinking he doesn't even have Toxic. So he probably carries Tailwind as his other move. He probably doesn't even carry the Toxic, which is going to be relatively good for him. He probably knew that I was going to bring Gliscor into this match, and he decided to have a Mandibuzz that did not have Toxic. He now decides to bring in the Breloom, as I go for a Toxic again. Great prediction on his part. He was predicting the Toxic all the way there. Great play on his part. However, he really can't do much to me. He actually decides to go for the Spore, which is a little unfortunate because my Cofagrigus did wake up earlier. However, with my Mandibuzz asleep, not my Mandibuzz, with my Gliscor asleep, it's not really going to matter too much in the long run because without that Poison Heal, I really can't do much. Really, what this Gliscor is here for is to be a really huge wall. and without it being a wall, I really can't do anything. He actually decides to go into the Charizard once again, as I actually decide to stay in, try to wake up. Unfortunately, Tailwind for him does peter out, so that speed boost isn't really going to help him too much. I have to go back into my Cofagrigus now. I have to limit him, as he's going to now go for the belly drum, completely surprising me. I was not expecting this at all. Really just props to him for originality, for going for the belly drum. Was not expecting that at all. I was expecting maybe the Dragon Dance, maybe, but he doesn't even have that. He has belly drum, going for that all the way, and then recovering with Roost. Very, very nice play on his part. I decided to go for the Shadow Ball. I just have to keep going for Shadow Ball, completely lowering his special defense. I actually get a crit on that turn. Really, really amazing for me. And he just keeps spamming with Roost. He is at +6, so it's still very, very dangerous. I decided to go for the Shadow Ball, and I finally got the special defense drop, just amazingly for me. Now he decides to go for the Flame Charge, try to wipe me out at +6. Hopefully he can take me out, and I live with 3 HP. And now he gets the Mummy ability. His Tough Claws ability is now gone. And that just amazing for me, because now his speed is lowered, his special defense is lowered, and now I can go for the Shadow Ball, and with that special defense drop, that is going to be enough to take out the Mega Charizard X. Wow, just Cofagrigus coming in clutch with surviving with 3 HP left. Just amazing for me. And now I actually decide to switch out my Cofagrigus, leave him in for Death Fodder for later with that with the Stealth Rocks up. I actually decided to go to my Bisharp, predicting some kind of psychic attack. He does go for the Shadow Ball, which I guess is good, but it's really not going to do too much. I do resist the hit, which is amazing for me. He then shows me he has Dazzling Gleam, and that should do around more than half. I actually decided to go for the Substitute, over predicting him to switch out. Then I go for the Sucker Punch, and it actually turns out that he's Focus Sashed, which is a little unfortunate. Again, I don't really care too much in the long run, because now he's going to finish me off. However, that overprediction did kind of cost my Bisharp there from getting any kills. But I did definitely lower this Espeon's health quite a bit, so that's going to be really awesome. I actually decided to go into my Conkeldurr now, because what I can do now is pretty much just go for my priority Mach Punch, take him out. Even if he decides to switch, that's completely fine by me. He actually decides to go into the Mandibuzz, which I think I predicted. No, I did not predict that, unfortunately. But Mach Punch is still going to do quite a bit of damage, even with the Assault Vest. No, even with the Conkeldurr's massive attack. And even with Poison, I'm just going to keep spamming Mach Punch, because I just want to take out this Mandibuzz. Unfortunately, he does live, which is going to be unfortunate. He is going to be able to get off a Toxic. I think I have Guts, so it's not really going to matter too much in the long run. The Mandibuzz did do something there, though, but it dies anyway. So before it dies, it lets off a Toxic to my Conkeldurr. It's not the biggest deal in the world, because Conkeldurr's Guts ability is going to activate, which is still going to be pretty awesome for me. He does go into his Sableye now, and he's going to go for the Confuse Ray. His best option right now is just to completely limit me. I'm hoping I can get off a knockoff on him, because I want to get rid of his item, plus do that massive amount of damage. It's going to be pretty awesome. He does hope that I hit myself in Confusion. However, I hit him with the knockoff. He is definitely physically defensive, invested in physically defensive IVs, so that's going to be a little unfortunate. I do quite a bit of damage. However, I'm predicting the Recover now, so I actually decide to scout to see what he goes for, and I decide to let my Cofagrigus die to Death Fodder. So that's going to be my dead Cofagrigus, and I'm guessing he's going to go for the Recover, and he does. I was hoping he would hit me with some kind of move, but that didn't happen. So this Sableye is going to recover some HP. I actually decided to bring in my Victini now, because I just want to hit this thing with a V-Create, do as much damage as possible. He's just going to keep spamming Confuse Ray. He just wants me to hit myself in Confusion. It's really his only way to win this match now with his Charizard X out of the way. So I do hit myself in Confusion. That's going to be very, very unfortunate for me there. I knew he would probably switch now. I actually just decided to stay and go for the V-Create. I just wanted to hit this Tyrantrum. I knew the Tyrantrum would come in. I just wanted to do as much damage as possible. Actually, no, I didn't go for the V-Create. I actually decided to go for the Trick, take his Choice Band, and he... Actually, no, I was Choice Banded, no. So I actually take the Choice Scarf, and now I decide to go for the U-turn, do a little bit of damage, and I decide to now go back into my Gliscor, I believe. Yes, I decide to go back to my Gliscor. I can pretty much take any hit this Tyrantrum wants to go for, even if he wants to go for like a Stone Edge or something. as he actually misses, unfortunately for him. He decides to switch now because he realizes that he definitely can't finish me off in one hit. He decides to bring in that Sableye. It's really his best play at this point. I just want to wake up so I can put up Stealth Rocks, because now with that Espeon dead, I don't have to worry about any Magic Bounce. And he actually decides to pull up a switch again, go back into Tyrantrum. He wants to switch up his moves, I'm guessing, as I do wake up, and I actually decide to go for the taunt. Kind of a bad play on my part because I was predicting the Sableye to stay in. So that's going to be a little unfortunate. I'm going to have to decide to pull out a switch now. I decide to go into my Victini now, as I don't know what I was predicting here. I think I just left my Victini as death fodder here, as he's just going to finish me off with the Ice Fang. I actually didn't. No, I actually did die, unfortunately. I do die. My Victini is going to go down, and I'm not sure how many Pokemon I'm left with. I still have my Patrick, which is my Starmie, so I'm really not too worried because I can pretty much outspeed him at this point. And he knows he has to switch because I have the Dazzling Gleam, I have the Ice Beam. He's going to switch. He's going to go into a Sableye now. His best bet is to just keep living hits. I actually decided to just go for the Scald. It's really my best play. The Sableye really can't do anything. I am Life Orbed, so it's going to do quite a bit of damage. Really, his only play is to just go for the Confuse Ray, hoping that I hit myself in confusion. That's really the only way he can take out my Starmie. My Starmie right now is the biggest threat on the field right now. And unfortunately, I do hit myself in confusion. That's going to be very, very unfortunate. And he actually decides to not go for a priority move. I decided to just go for the Scald, finish him off. I'm guessing he just decided to go for the knockoff. If he went for the knockoff, he might have finished me off. I'm not quite sure, though. So I do finish off the Sableye. That's a huge, huge threat out of the way. His best bet now is to go into his Breloom, and I just have to stay in and decide. I actually decided to stay in and go for the Ice Beam. If he went for the Mach Punch, I would have been completely fine with that. I just decided to go for the Ice Fang, finish him off, and that's going to be the end of his Breloom. And that's going to finish off his Breloom. So really his last Pokemon, actually no, he still has his Espeon left. And I know I can't actually I do outspeed the Espeon. I might have been wrong then. I thought I could outspeed I thought the Espeon outsped me, but I guess not. I guess Starmie outspeeds Espeon. Sorry, it's been a while since I played this game, so it's really up to his Tyrantrum now at this point, and really he cannot do much to me. All I have to do is just go straight for the Ice Beam. I can finish off the Tyrantrum, and that's going to be a 4-0 victory pretty much in my favor. I believe it was 4-0. It might have been 3-0. I actually think I think it was 4-0. But that's pretty much going to be the end of the match, and that is going to finish off Nick. That was still a really, really good match, and hopefully you guys did enjoy. Hopefully you guys will stay tuned for my future content. I really hope you guys enjoyed today. This was still a relatively good match. Cofagrigus, definitely the MVP of that match, with surviving that Mega Charizard X's Flame Charge with 3 XP left at +6. So that's going to be it for today, guys. Hopefully you guys will stay tuned for later. I will see you guys on the next one. Peace, guys.